Hi everyone, I'm Miu from Susan's family. Today I'll teach you how to make the Jade Whisper lace top. This top is divided into several parts: the back piece, the left and right front pieces, the sleeves, joining together, crocheting the edging and buttons. First, let's learn the back piece. It's made up of motifs, the left and right side pieces, and the shoulder neck part. The motifs are divided into two types, motif 1 and motif 2. First, crochet motif 1. Then crochet motif 2. And connect it with motif 1 in the last round. Let's start with motif 1. Begin with a magic ring method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Several crochet stitches will be applied. The chart has all the details labeled, so we won't list them one by one here. Please watch my demonstration for the specific crocheting method. Take out the corresponding yarn. A cotton yarn will be used for the swatch demonstration. For specific yarn details, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the product details page and the printed pattern instructions. Start with a magic ring by wrapping the yarn around your finger. Crochet the first round after completing the ring. Chain 3 as the beginning chain for double crochet, which counts as 1 double crochet stitch. Then work 15 double crochets into the magic ring. Tighten the loops after completing the round. Next, on the turning chain, pick up the top 2 strands of the chain. Work 1 slip stitch into the chain. The joining slip stitch at the end doesn't count as 1 stitch. Make sure to pull tight to avoid adding extra stitches later. The first round is complete. We'll consider the side with the clearer texture as the right side of the piece. Now continue crocheting the second round. Start with 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain. This corresponds to the starting stitch of the previous round. Then chain 1 as a transition. Work 1 double crochet into the left side double crochet. Work 1 double crochet into the stitch. Pay attention, the stitch may look a bit distorted here. Don't insert the hook in the wrong position. Pull the yarn tail from behind and secure it together. Continue with 1 chain stitch. Work 1 double crochet into the next stitch. From here downward, pick up the corresponding stitch and work a double crochet. Between each double crochet, chain 1 as a transition. Continue crocheting around to finish this round. Once the last double crochet is complete, work 1 single crochet into the starting stitch to connect. Pay attention here, from bottom to top, locate the 3rd chain stitch. Pick up these 2 strands and insert the hook to crochet. The second round is complete. Yarn tails that are not secured can now be trimmed off. Now crochet the third round. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Next, work into the chain space from the previous round. Work 3 double crochets into each space. Complete this round. Once the last space is worked, work 2 double crochets into the first space. Finish by joining with a slip stitch to the starting chain. The third round is complete. Now move on to the fourth round. First, work into the gap on the left side of the previous round's turning chain. Work 1 slip stitch into that space. Gently tighten. Make 1 chain stitch. This serves as the turning chain for the single crochet. It doesn't count as 1 stitch. Work 1 single crochet into the same position. Chain 3. Skip 3 double crochets on the left side. Work 1 single crochet into the stitch gap. Chain 3. Pick up the next gap with 3 stitches skipped. Work a single crochet correspondingly. Transition with 3 chain stitches in between. Work a total of 3 single crochets. After completing, chain 9. We consider the stitches following the turning chain as a group. Now repeat the same stitch pattern for the next group. Finish this round. Pay attention to the adjacent groups starting and ending single crochets. Work them into the same gap. The last group's ending single crochet is worked into the starting gap. Then chain 4 into the starting single crochet stitch. Work 1 FPDTR, 3 wrap treble crochet, yarn over the hook 3 times. Insert the hook into the stitch. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat this 4 times. Repeat 4 times. The 3 wrap treble crochet is completed. Round 4 is also completed. Move on to round 5. Start with 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain. Pick up through the 3 wrap treble crochet underneath. Work 5 double crochets. Skip the chain space on the left side. Work 1 single crochet in this single crochet stitch. Work 4 double crochets in the next hole. Chain 1. Work 4 double crochets in the adjacent hole. Work 1 single crochet in the left single crochet stitch. We will treat these 2 single crochets and the stitches between them as one side of this round. Next, in the 9 chain spaces on the left side, work 6 double crochets. Chain 3 and 6 double crochets. We will treat the stitches worked in this hole as one corner of this round. Now follow this stitch pattern for sides and corners to finish this round. After completing the last side, work 6 double crochets in the starting hole. Chain 1. Finally, work 1/2 double crochet in the beginning chain to join. Complete this corner. Round 5 is completed. Now work round 6. Make 1 beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet in the hole underneath. Chain 5. In the single crochet on the left side, work 1 double crochet. Chain 3. Work 1 single crochet in the left chain space. Chain 3. Work 1 double crochet in the single crochet on the left. Chain 5. Work 1 single crochet in the corner hole of the previous round. We will consider the stitches worked after the beginning chain as the edge of this round. Continue with 3 chain stitches to form the corner. Now repeat the edge and corner stitch pattern. Finish this round. Pay attention to working the last and first single crochet of adjacent edges in the same hole. After completing the last edge, chain 1. Make 1/2 double crochet in the starting single crochet to join. Round 6 is completed. Now work on round 7, the final round. Start with 3 chain stitches as the beginning. Work 1 double crochet in the hole underneath. Work 5 double crochets in the left chain space. Work 1 double crochet in the stitch. Work 3 double crochets in the 3 chain space. Work 1 double crochet in the stitch. On the chain space and double crochet on the other side, work symmetrical stitches to the right side. Finally, work 2 double crochets in the corner hole of the previous round. We will count the stitches we've already crocheted as one edge. You can check the number of double crochets. The turning chain counts as 1 stitch. Then work 3 chain stitches. Treat them as a corner. Continue alternating crocheting edges and corners. Finish this round. Pay attention to the insertion position of the first and last stitches. After completing the last corner, join with a slip stitch in the turning chain to finish. Round 7 is now complete. At this point, you can measure the size of the motif. Compare it with the dimensions provided in the chart. If there's a significant difference, adjust your tension and recrochet to avoid affecting the finished size. Once you've confirmed the size is correct, cut the yarn. Secure with a chain 1. Leave a 5 cm tail and cut the yarn. Pull tight. On the wrong side, weave in the ends following the texture. You can also weave in a few extra stitches for better security. One motif 1 is now finished. Crochet the other motifs 1 using the same method. Please keep the sizes consistent. Go ahead and finish them. That concludes the explanation for crocheting motif 1. Next, let's learn how to crochet motif 2. Start with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. When working on the final round, connect it to motif 1. You can connect them from left to right and from bottom to top. You can also refer to the chart. Arrange the two motifs in a staggered layout. Connect them in the order you're comfortable with, as long as the final layout matches the chart. The new stitch technique used is a DC4 bobble. Watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. First, in order. Crochet the first motif 2 on the left side of row 1. Start with a magic ring. Begin crocheting the first round after completing that. Chain 1 to begin. Work 8 single crochets into the starting ring. Pull the ring tight after completing that. Join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. If you do not know where the very first stitch is, you can also count the stitches from back to front. The first round is complete. We'll continue with the side that has a clearer texture as the right side. Continue crocheting the second round. First, chain 1 to begin. Work a single crochet into the first stitch of the previous round. That is the slip stitch insertion position. Make 1 single crochet. Chain 1. Pick up the stitches below and work single crochets correspondingly. Chain 1 as a transition between each 2 single crochets. Complete this round. After the last chain stitch is done, join with a slip stitch to the starting stitch to finish. The second round is complete. Now for the third round. The crochet technique is similar to the second round, except this time the chain space is 2 chains apart. Everyone finish it. Work the fourth round. First, work 1 slip stitch into the left chain space. Oval-shaped slip stitch doesn't need to be tightened. Move the yarn to the chain space position. Move the yarn to the chain space position. Chain 2. Then work 3 incomplete double crochets in the same hole. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. The first stitch is done. Continue with the second stitch. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. The second stitch is done. Work 1 more stitch. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops at once. 1 special DC4 bobble is done. Next, work 9 chain stitches. In the left side chain space, work 1 DC4 bobble. First, work 4 incomplete double crochets. Then yarn over and draw through all loops at once. The DC4 bobble is done. Hereinafter referred to simply as bobble stitch. Continue with 9 chain stitches. Next, work bobble stitches in the corresponding chain spaces below. Use 9 chain stitches as a transition in between. Complete this round. Once the last bobble stitch is done, work 4 chain stitches. And work a triple crochet in the stitch where the round began with the special bobble stitch. Work 1 triple crochet stitch. The 4th round is done. Rounds 5 to 6. Follow the chart and crochet in rounds with the corresponding stitch patterns. Remember to finish each round with a half double crochet to join. Everyone complete this part. Pay attention, after completing round 6, you can put it together with round 6 of motif 1 for comparison. The dimensions should match up roughly. If there's a significant difference, adjust your tension and recrochet to avoid affecting the appearance when joining. Finally, crochet the 7th round. This round requires joining with motif 1 on the top and right side. First, take out 2 motif 1 pieces and set them aside. The position for connecting the motifs can be referenced from the chart, or you can adjust it yourself. The sample follows the diagram. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Work 3 double crochets into the chain space below. Two chain stitches. Skip the turning chain and 2 double crochets on the left side. Pick up this stitch and work 1 double crochet. Below, pick up the individual double crochet underneath and work a corresponding double crochet. Both left and right sides use 2 chain stitches as transition. After completing, work 1 double crochet into the double crochet on the left side. Hook 1 double crochet. 2 chain stitches. Work 4 double crochets into the corner chain space. We will work into the already crocheted stitches. Consider this as one side of the round. Then crochet 3 chain stitches to form the corner. Pay attention, we need to connect motif 1 here. First, crochet 1 chain stitch. Enlarge the loop. Remove the crochet hook. Take 1 motif 1 with the right side facing up. Insert into any corner hole. Hook out the loop. Then crochet 2 chain stitches. This connects the 2 corner positions. For the remaining 2 motif corners, follow the same method. Before crocheting the middle chain stitch, hook out the loop through the corresponding corner hole. Then complete the remaining chain stitches. Now for the edging position. And connect this side of motif 1. First work 4 double crochets into the same hole underneath. Following the chart, next is 2 chain stitches. Connect here at the second chain stitch position. First crochet 1 chain stitch, remove the hook. Insert into motif 1. Edge, 5th double crochet stitch from the right. Hook out a loop. Then complete the second chain stitch. This completes 1 connection. Continue with 1 double crochet, 2 chain stitches, 1 double crochet. Make sure not to miss the correct insertion point here, the second position of the next 2 chain stitches. Connect once again, same as before, first crochet 1 chain stitch, remove the hook, skip 4 stitches on motif 1. Hook out a loop. Complete the chain stitch. Then follow the same method. Attach to motif 1 at the corresponding chain position. Skip 4 stitches to connect. Once the final connection is done, work 4 double crochets into the corner hole. The second side is completed, with 4 connections made. Each connection is made on the 2 sides of the edge. And 2 chain positions separated by 1 chain hole in the middle. The second stitch of each chain segment. Motif 1 edges are all connected by skipping 4 stitches. Once the final connection is done, 3 double crochets remain. The rest of the edge positions will follow the same connection method. Next, connect the corner. Pay attention to the top of motif 2 here. One more motif 1 needs to be attached. These 2 corners need to be connected simultaneously. First, work 1 chain stitch. Take the hook out. First, insert into the middle chain stitch of the right side motif 1 corner. You can pick up 2 threads like this. Continue inserting into the corresponding middle chain stitch of the top corner. Similarly, pick up 2 threads. Draw through the loop. The loop here can be a bit loose. Then work 2 chain stitches. This connects the 3 corner positions together. The next 3 corners will be connected in the same way. You can follow this method. Join the middle chain stitch of the corresponding corner of motif 1 at the same time. Pay attention to keep it loose while joining, to ensure the joined area lays flat and looks neat. Everyone can also join according to their own habit, as long as it looks neat. Next, connect this side. The method is the same as before. Be mindful not to miscount the joining position. You can double check after completing it. Continue connecting the corners. Here, connect 2 corners. You can directly hook through the chain space. This way, it's connected to 2 motif 1 pieces. Continue crocheting this round. Finally, slip stitch and fasten off the yarn. Weave in the yarn tails. So the first motif 2 of row 1 is now crocheted and connected. The second motif 2 of row 1. The crochet method for the first 6 rounds is the same as before. When crocheting the 7th round, need to connect to the right side, above, and the connected motif 1 on the left. The joining method is also the same as before. Next, the third motif 2. Follow the same method as the second motif 2. Connect to the adjacent motif 1 pieces around. Everyone complete this part. Now, the first motif 2 of row 2 below. This position needs to connect to 4 surrounding motif 1 pieces. Please watch my demonstration of the specific joining method. First, finish crocheting the first 6 rounds. Now crochet the 7th round. Here, all 4 sides need to be connected. First, connect the motif 1 on the top and left side in the swatch. After connecting the left side of motif 1, Next, the corner position below. 3 corner positions have already been connected. Here, start with a chain stitch first. From the insertion position connected previously. Pull through a loop. Make it slightly loose as well. Then crochet 2 chain stitches. This is the method for connecting 4 corners. Everyone can also pick a suitable position to connect, based on your own habit, as long as the final connection looks neat and tidy. Continue connecting along the edge. The next corner is also connected in the same 4-corner way, same method as before. Continue connecting motif 1 on the left side. Once this last corner position is connected, finish with a slip stitch. Cut the yarn. Motif 2 is now crocheted and connected. Row 2 remaining motif 2. Continue connecting motif 1 around the edges. Note that the last right side doesn't need to be connected. Each row has 6 motifs. Remaining motif 2 for the following rows. Continue connecting in a staggered pattern. Be mindful not to miss any motif 1 when connecting. Also avoid adding extra connections on either side. The top row doesn't need to be connected. Please refer to the previous demonstration. Follow the chart to complete crocheting and connecting all motif 2. That's all for the motifs. Next, we'll learn the side panels, divided into left and right panels. The left and right mentioned here refer to the garment's left and right when worn. First, let's learn the right panel. Work back and forth on the motif. Watch my demonstration for the specific crochet method. I'll use a swatch here, demonstrating using the small size as an example, with fewer motifs, mainly demonstrating the method. Once you understand the method for other sizes, just follow the chart to crochet. On the rightmost motif 1 of the first row of the motif, right side facing, join the yarn in the bottom right corner hole. You can make a knot here. Pull through the loop. Adjust it a bit. Yarn joining completed. Make 3 chain stitches as the beginning. Work 1 double crochet into the same hole. Then pick up stitches along the edge, working 1 double crochet into each stitch. If you encounter a turning chain stitch, just work a double crochet into the slip stitch insertion position accordingly. Work 2 double crochets into the corner hole. After completing, refer to the chart to check the number of double crochets. Next, work 2 double crochets into the corner hole of motif 2. Work double crochets along the edge according to the chart. Refer to the chart for specific insertion positions. After completing, work 2 double crochets into the corner hole. You can also check the number of double crochets on motif 2. Next, work double crochets on the motifs according to the chart. Note that some parts of motif 2 will be worked into. The number of double crochets needs to be 1 more stitch. After everything is completed, check the total number of stitches for this row. That concludes the explanation for the first row. Continue to crochet the second row. Start with 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain, corresponding to the double crochet on the edge. Then work 1 chain stitch for transition. Turn the work over. Skip 1 stitch on the left side, and work 1 double crochet. Note that the stitch under the turning chain doesn't count. On the wrong side, the stitch is at the upper left. Don't insert the hook in the wrong position. 1 chain stitch. Skip 1 stitch downward and work a double crochet correspondingly. 1 chain stitch transition between. Finish this row. After completing the last chain stitch, skip 1 stitch. Pick up the top 2 strands of the chain stitch on the starting stitch. Work 1 double crochet. Row 2 is complete. Now work on row 3. Start with 3 chain stitches as turning chain. Turn the work. Begin from the left chain space. Pick up the chain space and stitch. Work 1 double crochet in each respectively. Finish this row. After completing the double crochet in the last chain space, work 1 double crochet in the turning chain. Pay attention to work from bottom to top. Find the 3rd chain stitch. Pick up 2 threads to crochet. Row 3 is complete. Now you can measure the height of these 3 rows. Compare it with the dimensions shown in the chart. If there's a big difference, adjust according to the actual situation, to avoid affecting the finished product's dimensions. Now work row 4 for the small swatch. Start with 2 chain stitches as the beginning chain. Counts as 1/2 double crochet. 1 chain stitch transition. Turn the work. Skip 1 stitch and work a 1/2 double crochet. 1 chain stitch in between. Work the corresponding number of 1/2 double crochets. For the swatch here, the stitch count is random. Finish with 1 chain stitch. Now skip one stitch and work a double crochet, one chain stitch in between. Finish this row. Here you can place a marker on the first double crochet of the row. If you don't have a stitch marker, use a safety pin or paperclip instead. The last double crochet is worked into the turning chain. Row 4 is now complete. Now work row 5. Start with 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain. Turn the work. Work a double crochet into each stitch evenly. Work up to the second double crochet before the marker. Once you reach the corresponding position, work into the hole on the left side and the double crochet. Make 1/2 double crochet in each of these positions. In the next chain space, make 1 single crochet. At the marker position, make 1 slip stitch. Don't pull too tight. Row 5 is now complete. Leave the remaining stitches unworked. Continue to crochet row 6. Begin by carrying the yarn across. Enlarge the loop. Thread the yarn ball or fabric through the loop. Pull tight. Then turn the work. Refer to the chart to find the starting position. Draw the yarn through. Keep the floating yarn close to the fabric. The yarn carry is now complete. In the following sections, when you reach a position that requires a yarn carry, simply follow the same method. Now continue crocheting according to the chart. Row 6 is now complete. For the last row, turn and work double crochets accordingly. Keep crocheting until you reach the starting chain space of the previous row. Once done, check the stitch count. Once confirmed, fasten off the yarn. Everyone, finish it up. That concludes the explanation for the right side piece in the small size. The crochet method for the right side piece in other sizes is similar to the small size. The number of rows will increase. For the sleeve hole skip stitches, refer to the chart for the medium size. Fasten off the yarn. Turn the work. Skip the corresponding number of double crochets. Join the yarn at the corresponding double crochet stitch. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Start crocheting the corresponding stitch pattern from the next stitch. Then work back and forth. Fasten off at the end. Check the stitch count on the last row. Both the beginning chain and chain stitches are counted in the stitch count. For the large size, on the next row after skipping for the sleeve hole, crochet the required number of double crochets according to the chart. Change stitch patterns at the end to create a curve. Then carry the yarn across and work back and forth. Again, check the stitch count and fasten off on the last row. Everyone follow the pattern chart according to your own size. That concludes the explanation for crocheting the right side panel. Now let's move on to the left side panel. Work back and forth on the left side of the motif. The shape is symmetrical with the right side panel. Join the yarn at the top left corner, on the front side of the motif for the first row. Then work back and forth. Work only on the left section for the last few rows. To shape the armhole. For the small size, Pay attention to start crocheting double crochets from the 4th row. From now on, work half double crochets. The number of double crochets here. Pay attention to calculate based on the stitch count of the last row. Join the yarn again and work on the next row. For other sizes, be careful not to make mistakes in stitch count. Refer to the previous demonstration. Follow the pattern chart. All ends with fastening off the yarn. Please complete it by yourselves. That concludes the explanation for crocheting the side panels. Finally, we'll learn how to work the neckline and shoulders on top of the motif, and back and forth on both side panels. The last few rows are worked in 2 separate sections. The new stitch techniques used are DC2 tog and DC3 tog. Watch my demonstration for the detailed crocheting method. Here I'll continue demonstrating using the small size as an example. Attach the yarn to the rightmost stitch on the top edge of the right panel. Make 3 beginning chains as the turning chain. Work 1 double crochet in the same stitch. Then refer to the chart. Pick up 1 stitch along the side edge of each row. Crochet the corresponding number of double crochets. Generally follow a 3 stitches per row and 2 stitches per row alternating method. When reaching the motif position, refer to the chart. Work the corresponding number of double crochets on each motif. Pay attention to some motifs marked as part 2. The stitch count differs from other motifs. After completion, move to the side edge of the left panel. Continue crocheting double crochets following the pattern. Row 1 is complete. Don't forget to check the stitch count. The following rows are worked back and forth. The technique is similar to the side panel. Pay attention to divide and crochet the first few rows in 2 sections. The stitch techniques on both ends will change, creating a swept shoulder shape. Where yarn carrying is needed, refer to the chart for yarn carrying. For small size neck opening front row, between chains in the middle section, always work single crochets. When crocheting, mindful not to make mistakes. After completing the front neck opening row, divide into 2 sections below. First crochet the right side neck shoulder. Then crochet the left side neck shoulder. I'll use a swatch here to demonstrate the crocheting for the small size part. On this swatch, the 6th row in front of the neck opening is completed. Stitch count is random. Now crochet the 7th row for the right shoulder. Start carrying the yarn across. Then make 1 beginning chain to start. Begin from the left side chain space. Crochet the corresponding stitch pattern. Complete with 1 slip stitch at the end. Row 7 is completed. Leave the remaining stitches unworked. Continue crocheting row 8, start carrying the yarn across. Then make 2 chain stitches to begin. On the left side, work 1 DC2 tog in the next 2 stitches. First, make 2 incomplete double crochets corresponding to the pattern. Then yarn over and draw through all loops in once. DC2 tog is completed. Continue crocheting by referring to the chart. Row 8 is completed. Finally crochet row 9. First carry the yarn across. Make 1 chain stitch to begin. Start from the left side chain space. Work the corresponding stitch pattern. At the last 3 stitches, work 1 DC3 tog. First, make 3 incomplete double crochets corresponding to the pattern. Then yarn over and draw through all loops in once. DC3 tog is completed. No stitches are worked on the edge chain. Row 9 is completed. Cut the yarn. This section of the right shoulder is now done. Continue crocheting the left shoulder part. Place the crocheted section on the right side. Refer to the chart to find the starting position for row 7 on this side. Join the yarn, then refer to the chart and crochet back and forth for the last few rows. Finally, cut the yarn. You've completed it. The small size neckline and shoulder part is now explained. The crochet method for other sizes of neckline and shoulders is similar. Mind the stitch insertion position on the edge. Follow the chart when crocheting. Don't make mistakes. The explanation for the neckline and shoulders is now done. The back piece is also completed. Next, let's move on to the right front piece. It is divided into motifs, side panel and neckline shoulder parts, 3 sections total. For the medium and large sizes, the motif section is crocheted in a similar way to the back piece motifs. Start with motif 1. Then crochet motif 2 and join them together into a panel. Follow the chart and complete it. For the small size, besides motifs 1 and 2, there's also motif 3 at the neckline position. Work in rounds first, then crochet from right to left on the last 2 rows, and join at the end of the final row. When crocheting the medium and large sizes, you can skip the motif section. Watch me demonstrate the crochet method for motif 3. The first 5 rounds of motif 3 are almost identical to the first 5 rounds of motif 2. Pay attention to the slip stitch join at the end of the 5th round. Follow the chart and complete it. Now I'll demonstrate round 6. Start with 2 chain stitches. Skip 1 double crochet stitch. Correspondingly make 2 single crochets. 2 chain stitches. Refer to the pattern to crochet. Finally, crochet 2 double crochets into the corner hole. Round 6 is completed. Cut the yarn. Join yarn on the final round according to the chart. Make 1 chain stitch as the beginning chain, then follow the pattern chart to crochet. When reaching the corner position, connect motif 1 on the left side and below. After connecting, continue to follow the pattern chart to crochet. After completing the DC2 tog at the end, cut the yarn. This way, motif 3 has been crocheted and connected. The explanation for motifs is also completed. Once the motifs are done, next, crochet the side panel. The technique is similar to the left panel of the back piece. With a few more rows, work the last few rows. Leave space for the armhole. For larger sizes, start with 1 chain as the beginning chain on the last row. After turning the work, pay attention to start crocheting from the first double crochet stitch. Cut the yarn at the end. Once the side panel is done, next, crochet the shoulder neck part. Work back and forth along the side edges of the motifs and side panel. Decrease stitches at the neckline area. Pay attention to the stitch placement, refer to the chart. Some beginning chains don't require crocheting into. Along one edge, work even without increasing or decreasing. Change stitch patterns at the end to shape the slept shoulder. Carry the yarn across where needed. Cut the yarn at the end. Everyone can refer to the previous demonstration and complete it accordingly. That's all for the right front piece. Next, let's learn the left front piece. It's also divided into motifs, side panel and neckline shoulder sections. The motifs for medium and large sizes are symmetrically arranged with the right front motifs. Everyone follow your size chart accordingly. For small size motifs, except motif 1 and motif 2, are symmetrically arranged. You need to crochet motif 4 at the neckline. The crochet method for the first 5 rounds is similar to corresponding rounds of motif 2. Pay attention to chain 2 at the end of round 5. Then work a single crochet into the beginning chain to join. Later follow the chart to crochet. At the end of row 6, remember to cut the yarn. On row 7, join the yarn at the beginning chain of the previous row, then crochet and connect the adjacent motifs. In the swatch, we only connected the bottom part. In reality, everyone follow the chart for connection. At the end, cut the yarn. Everyone complete this part. That's all for the motif section. Now for the side panel and neckline shoulder section. Crochet symmetrically with the right front piece. Everyone follow the chart to complete it. That's all for the left front piece. Next we'll learn how to make the sleeves. Each sleeve is divided into 2 parts, the sleeve body and the sleeve cap. The sleeve body is made up of motifs, side panel and top panel. The motifs consist of motif 1 and motif 2. Start by crocheting motif 1. Then crochet motif 2 and connect them into a long strip. The method is the same as before. Only connect the 2 motif 1s on both ends. After completing, at the edges of the motifs on both ends, Join yarn and work back and forth to crochet the side panel. Fasten off the yarn at the end, then on the right side front. Join yarn at the edge of the right side panel. Work back and forth to crochet the top panel. The technique is similar to the side panel of the back piece. Don't cut the yarn at the end. Later, the sleeve cap will continue from the yarn end of the sleeve top panel. Work back and forth. Pay attention to the stitch change at the beginning and end of the first row. The starting single crochet doesn't count as one stitch. The first single crochet is worked into the first stitch on the edge. Decrease stitches on both sides afterwards. Fasten off the yarn at the end as well. Please refer to the chart to complete it. This concludes the explanation for the sleeves. Once the front and back pieces and sleeves are done, next is joining them together. Place the back piece and left, right front pieces with their wrong sides facing each other. Match up the shoulder positions. Here we'll work on both side pieces. Crochet slip stitches separately, with a chain 1 as a bridge between each stitch. Adjust the slip stitch positions according to the actual situation. Ensure it lays flat and joins evenly for a neat appearance. For the specific joining method, please refer to the video demonstration below. Now I'll demonstrate with a swatch. How to join at the stitch positions. Align the positions that need to be joined. Make sure the right sides of both pieces are facing outward. On the front side, attach the yarn at the top of the first stitch on the right edge. If it's a stitch, simply insert the hook into the stitch. If it's a beginning chain, pick up the top of the beginning chain, working under both loops of the chain stitch. Then crochet a chain stitch as a bridge. The number of chains can be adjusted according to your preference. The more chains you make, the wider the joining area will be. For this swatch, I'll crochet 1 chain stitch, then slip stitch into the first stitch, at the edge of the back piece. Don't pull it too tight. You can also adjust the stitch technique for joining, based on your own preference. For example, you can switch to single crochet. For this swatch, I'm using slip stitches. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Go back to the front piece. Pick a suitable position, meaning a spot that you can roughly reach. After completing the chain stitches, the more chains you have, the slightly wider the space can be. For this swatch, I'm skipping 1 stitch when joining. If the joining positions are not on the same row, just choose a roughly suitable spot. As long as after joining, the pieces line up evenly and flat. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Join at the corresponding position on the other side. Repeat this process. Choose suitable positions on the front and back pieces for joining. Remember to also match up the edges. After completing the last 2 stitches on the edge, cut the yarn and weave in the ends. Also weave in the starting tail on the wrong side. Everyone finish this part. That's all for joining at stitch positions. After completing the shoulder joins, join the last row of the side panels. This joining method is the same as for the shoulders, except this time it's on the same row. On the side with chain stitches, you can pick up chain spaces and slip stitch. On the side with continuous stitches, skip 1 stitch and slip stitch across to make a neat and flat join. Everyone complete this part. Next, join the sleeves. First, connect the sleeve body sides. At the side panel position, pick up the last row stitch positions to join. The upper piece's side edge. Pick up each row's side edge and join. This is the method for joining side edges between rows. You can refer to the video demonstration below. Here I'll demonstrate using a swatch. The method for joining between rows. Make sure the right side of the fabric faces out. Align the positions that need to be joined. You can start joining from the beginning chain side, or you can start from the end side. First, at the very right row of the front piece, attach the yarn at the edge position. If this is the starting chain area, you can pick up the insertion point to attach the yarn. If it's the ending area, pick up either above the beginning chain or into the stitch. Then crochet a chain for transition. The number of chains here can also be adjusted based on your preference. The more chains you make, the wider the joining area will be. For this swatch, I'll crochet 1 chain stitch, then slip stitch into the corresponding edge position of the back piece. Don't pull too tight. Everyone can also adjust the stitch technique according to their own preference. Adjust the connecting stitch technique. For example, switch to single crochet. For this swatch, I'm using slip stitches only. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Go back to the front piece. Pick a suitable position, meaning the position it will roughly reach. After completing the chain stitches, more chain stitches. The connecting interval can be slightly increased. For this swatch, pick 1 stitch from the edge of this row to connect. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Slip stitch at the corresponding position on the back piece. Continue connecting in this way. Remember to adjust the connecting position according to the actual situation. Ensure the fabric pieces are evenly and flatly joined together. Don't forget to connect at the final edge position. Make sure the side edges of the fabric pieces match up. Finally, cut the yarn and weave in the ends. Everyone complete it. This concludes the explanation of connecting between rows. Finally, connect the sleeve cap to the armhole positions on the front and back pieces. Position the sleeve body to match up with the side connecting positions on the front and back pieces. Use stitch markers to secure. The middle of the last row of the sleeve cap should correspond to the shoulder connecting position. Secure in several middle points. Ensure the fabric pieces on both sides are aligned evenly. Then follow the previous joining method to connect them flat. Everyone complete it. This concludes the explanation of joining. Next, let's learn how to crochet the edging. It includes the bottom edge, the front band, the collar edge, and the sleeve cuffs. First, let's learn the bottom edge. Work back and forth on the bottom of the front and back pieces. Please watch my demonstration of the crocheting method. Crochet the first row first. Hold the fabric with the bottom facing up, right side facing you. Attach yarn at the right top edge corner space of the left front piece. The technique varies slightly depending on the size. I'll demonstrate the small size first using a swatch. For small size, make one chain as the beginning chain here, then work single crochets correspondingly along the sides of the motif and side panel. Refer to the pattern chart for the exact number of stitches on the motif. The insertion points are random on the swatch here. Pay attention to the joining position. Pick a space and make one single crochet. Continue using this method. Finish this row. After completing row 1, remember to check the stitch count. Some positions are skipped on the swatch here. Make sure to complete them in your actual work. Continue to crochet row 2. Start with a chain 1. Turn the work. Begin from the first stitch and work single crochets correspondingly. Continue all the way down this row. Row 2 is completed. For the small size, the following rows will be crocheted back and forth using the same method as row 2. No need to fasten off at the end. The crocheting for the bottom edge of the small size is now explained. For other sizes, join the yarn following the method for the small size. Crochet double crochets on row 1. The technique is similar to that used for the shoulder parts. Pay attention to the number of double crochets crocheted on the motif. Refer to the chart. On row 2, return and crochet double crochets and chains. From row 3 onward, work single crochets back and forth corresponding to each stitch. Everyone can follow the chart to complete it. Similarly, don't fasten off at the end. This concludes the explanation for the bottom edge. Next, we'll move on to the front band. Divide it into left and right front bands, located on the left and right front pieces, and along the bottom side edges. Please watch my demonstration of the specific crochet method. Here I'll continue using the small size as an example. Connect to the yarn from the bottom edge. Start with the first row of the right front band. Chain 1 to begin. Work one single crochet into the edge stitch. Then pick up stitches through the chain spaces along the side edges. Work 2 single crochets in the corresponding position. Skip 1 stitch. Then work 3 single crochets. Continue by skipping 1 stitch. Work 3 single crochets in the corresponding position. For the small size, work single crochets into the motif below. For other sizes, there are 2 more rows of double crochets here. Pay attention to crochet accordingly. The number of stitches to crochet on the motif is marked on the chart. You can also adjust based on your actual needs. Adjust the insertion position of the single crochet. Just make sure the fabric lies flat and looks nice. The insertion positions are random in the swatch here. Once done, the first row is completed. You can check the stitch count. Continue crocheting back and forth for the following rows. Finally, cut the yarn. Please finish it up. That's all for the right front band crocheting. Attach the yarn at the top left corner of the left front piece for the left front band. Crochet back and forth. The technique is symmetrical to the right front band. Refer to the previous demonstration to complete it. Cut the yarn at the end as well. That's all for the front bands. Next, we'll learn how to work the collar edge on the front and back pieces. And crochet back and forth at the neckline formed by the front bands. The new stitch technique used is the SC2 tog. Please watch my demonstration for the specific crocheting method. Here I'll demonstrate using a swatch. Some positions are omitted. Please note that the actual project takes precedence. At the top of the right front band, attach yarn at the last stitch of the final row. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Then work single crochets correspondingly along the front band edge. Refer to the pattern chart for the exact stitch count. Next, crochet single crochets along the neckline edge. For the small size, you'll work into motif 3 here. Other sizes work along the shoulder neck edge. Check the chart for exact insertion positions, or adjust according to your needs. As long as the final stitch count matches the chart. In this swatch, the insertion points are random. When you meet yarn tails or carrying yarn, wrap them in together. At the joining spot, make 1 single crochet. Then continue crocheting down this row. After finishing this row, you'll be at the front band edge. Row 1 is done. You can check the stitch count now. Rows 2 to 3 from now on, work back and forth with corresponding single crochets. Everyone can complete this part on your own. Next I'll demonstrate row 4, using this swatch. Some positions are skipped. Start with 1 chain as the beginning chain. Turn your work, skip the first stitch. Start working corresponding single crochets from the second stitch. When there are 2 stitches left, work 1 SC2 tog. First, make 2 incomplete single crochets. Insert your hook. Pull the yarn through. First stitch is completed. Continue inserting into the adjacent stitch. Pull the yarn through. Second stitch is completed. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops in once. The SC2 tog is completed. Row 4 is completed. The next row work even with single crochets. Work row 5 the same way as row 4. Decrease at the beginning and end. Please refer to the previous demonstration. Refer to the chart and complete it. After finishing the last row, cut the yarn and weave in the ends. That's all for the collar edge demonstration. Finally, let's learn how to work the sleeve edge. Work back and forth around the other side of the sleeve body. Watch my demonstration for the detailed crochet method. Here I'll demonstrate using a swatch. First, work round 1. Find the joining position on the sleeve body. Insert the hook into the joining hole and attach the yarn. Make one beginning chain to start. Work one single crochet in the same position. Then follow the chart and work single crochets. The swatch's insertion points are random. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 1 is complete. This swatch skips some positions here. You need to complete it fully in practice. Continue to crochet round 2. Make one beginning chain to start. Turn the work. This round is crocheted on the wrong side. Pick up stitches and work single crochets correspondingly. Work the last single crochet into the slip stitch insertion point from the previous round. Then finish with a slip stitch. Round 2 is complete. For the following rounds, follow the same method as round 2. Crochet back and forth in rounds. After making the beginning chain at the start of each round, always turn the work. The final round is crocheted on the right side. Finally, cut the yarn and weave in the ends. Please complete it yourselves. That concludes the explanation for the sleeve cuff. The edging has also been explained. Finally, let's learn about the buttons. There are a total of 7 pairs. The top pair is placed below the collar edge. The bottom pair is placed above the bottom edge. The rest are evenly distributed in between. Each pair of buttons consists of 2 parts. When laid flat, the right side part needs to have the purl button attached. Crochet the shrimp braid for each individual part first. Pay attention, the one with the purl button is a short shrimp braid. The part with the buttonhole is the long shrimp braid. Crochet them separately first, then sew and assemble. For the exact length of the shrimp braid, please refer to the chart. After finishing, remember to leave about 50 cm of yarn tail for sewing. The way to crochet the shrimp here is shown in the demonstration. Next, let's demonstrate the crocheting technique of the shrimp braid. Start with a chain stitch. Work 2 chain stitches. Insert the hook into the top half of the first chain stitch. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Pull through both loops on the hook. Keep the hook in place. Turn the fabric underneath clockwise. Then, pick up 2 strands like this with the hook. Yarn over. Draw through. Yarn over again. Pull through the loops on the hook. Continue turning the fabric clockwise. Pick up 2 strands like this. Yarn over. Work a single crochet. Continue moving clockwise around the fabric. Pick up the same 2 strands and make a single crochet. Keep repeating this method from now on. Turn the fabric clockwise. Then pick up the 2 vertical strands on the upper left and work a single crochet. Once you've crocheted to the desired length, secure with 1 chain stitch. Leave yarn tails. Cut the yarn. If sewing is needed, leave a longer yarn tail. This is the crocheting technique for the shrimp stitch. Once the shrimp stitch is done, proceed with the assembly by sewing. Fold the short shrimp stitch in half and sew at the middle. And secure the purl button. Leave space for the buttonhole on the long shrimp stitch. Then sew it to the appropriate position on the left and right front pieces. Pay attention to leaving a small gap along the front band edge without sewing. The exact position can also be determined based on the look after buttoning. When sewing at the neckline area, make sure the button aligns with the bottom curve of the collar edge. The bottom part is all straight. For specific assembly and sewing methods, please refer to the video demonstration below. After the shrimp braid is crocheted, proceed with sewing. Start with the short shrimp braid. Fold it in half. Thread the yarn tail into the needle. Pick up the edge like this and whip stitch. Sew the purl at the tip after completing. Once securely fastened, leave the remaining yarn tails for now. Sew the long shrimp braid using the same method. Pay attention to leaving a tail for the buttonhole at the end. You can fasten it to check if it fits properly. Now fasten the button. Place it on the left front and right front pieces. Sew the short shrimp braid with the button onto the edge of the left front piece. At the neckline pickup stitches area, you can adjust the position according to your preference. Next, I'll demonstrate the sewing using a sample swatch. Thread the yarn tail into the sewing needle. Stitch along the edge of the shrimp braid and into the fabric. Try not to show any sewing traces on the surface. Once the last stitch is secured, tie a knot with the yarn tail. Weave the tail into the fabric following the texture. Then trim off any excess yarn tail. This completes the sewing of the shrimp braid. Sew the long shrimp braid onto the corresponding position on the right front piece. Complete the sewing as shown. That concludes the explanation on attaching the button. Up to this point, the entire sweater explanation is completed. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website, Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.